May 28th, 2025. 2:56 p.m. Unknown location. Dispatch reporting that Green Mountain Transit is calling to speak to an officer about an issue from Saturday. 3:23 p.m. Dollar Tree. Employee reporting there is a female in the store that is tweaking out and she would like her trespassed. She is wearing black leggings and a white shirt with a tank top underneath. At 3:25 p.m., they reported she is at the register now. At 3:26 p.m., the officer attached a Terra to the case. 4:20 p.m., North Main Street. Caller reporting that a juvenile threw bricks off of a building. 4:26 p.m., Food City. Manager is calling to report a male with a gray beard and a gray hoodie, baseball cap, and black sweatpants just stole some items and was last seen going past the Lucky Buffet. At 4:27 p.m., dispatch reports the manager is currently chasing the suspect around the building and past the railroad. The responding officer told dispatch to tell him he cannot do that, and she responded that she told him that much, and he responded back that per Vermont law, he is allowed to. The officer retorted he left the property, so no, he's not allowed to chase him. At 4:35 p.m., the officer reports the suspect's name is Raven Hendricks, and he ran to an apartment at 56 Federal Street. Good job on that, manager. Keep up the great work you do. May 29th, 2025. 3:36 p.m., South Main Street. Caller reporting that he sent a couple packages to an apartment he was supposed to move into soon, but an unknown male is currently now living there and won't return his packages. 4:24 p.m., Huntington Street. Caller reporting a possible domestic saying a female is being screamed at by a male, and she is also screaming. 9:45 p.m., unknown location. Caller reporting her daughter keeps stealing her EBT card. May 30th, 2025. 1:06 p.m., Walmart. Caller reporting that a black male is hitting a white female. Dispatch reports multiple calls on this. At 1:10 p.m., it's reported that the victim is named Samantha and the suspect's name is Brian Billings. At 1:32 p.m., Brian was given a court date and cleared from the scene. 1:37 p.m., Beverage Mart. Caller reporting there are juveniles throwing water bottles and yelling at customers. 2:33 p.m., Farrar Street. Jeremy Phillips calling to report an untimely death of a woman. At 2:42 p.m., dispatch asks responding officer if she killed herself, and he responds he is unsure. At 2:59 p.m., the officer reports they administered one shock to her and CPR was administered. At 3:03 p.m., they're transporting her to the hospital and her family members have been notified. 2:41 p.m., railroad parking lot. Caller reporting there are two males currently in a physical fight. One male has a green shirt on, and the other isn't wearing a shirt. An officer can be heard saying, "Welcome to summer." I think we all feel that sentiment. At 2:46 p.m., the fight between an Allen and the other male was broken up, and they were moved along. 4:20 p.m., 100 Lake Street. Caller reporting he hasn't heard from his ex-wife Pamela in a few days, which is unusual, and she's been having some mental and physical health issues, so he would like a welfare check done on her. At 4:22 p.m., dispatch reports the female has a warrant out on a cite and release for a retail theft, and she is known to be combative. At 4:36 p.m., the responding officer reports he was not able to make contact with her. 6:54 p.m., corner of Pearl Street and Elm Street. Caller reporting there is a male that is riding a bike and keeps falling over. He is headed towards Oak Street. At 6:59 p.m., the responding officer made contact with Alan Boomhoer in the Food City parking lot. At 7:04 p.m., the officer is bringing him to the hospital. May 31st, 2025. 12:10 p.m., Corrections. An officer reporting he is giving a courtesy transport back to the Cadillac Motel. 12:39 p.m. Intersection of North Main Street and Lower Newton Street. Caller reporting there is a female wearing a purple top and black sweatpants walking in the middle of the road and trying to get into cars when they are stopped in traffic. 2:22 p.m. Switchyard Mobile. Employee reporting that 3 juveniles were in their store and one of them stole a tall boy, then they took off. One is wearing all black, another is wearing a red hoodie, and the third is wearing a purple hoodie. 12:22 a.m., Russell Street. Caller reporting that a Richard Bailey Jr. is threatening to break into her residence and has been stalking her and her daughter. He is there now, and if he knows the cops are coming, he will run. 12:24 a.m. He just actively tried to break into her residence a couple minutes ago. She is currently at work, so she is not home, but her daughter is and is giving her the information. At 12:25 a.m., she reports he carries a small gun on him. At 12:27 a.m., the responding officer could not find him. At 1:56 a.m., she called back to report he just tried to break into her residence again. At 2:06 a.m., the responding officer was not able to find him this time either. 2:43 a.m., Sunset Meadows. Caller reporting someone is currently ripping her screen and trying to get into her residence. At 2:48 a.m., the responding officer reports no one is there and there are no signs of damage. June 1st, 2025, 7:08 p.m., unknown location. An officer reporting that a Quebec vehicle is ignoring his lights and refusing to pull over. At 7:19 p.m., he finally pulls over and his identification card is out of Saudi Arabia and his passport is out of Canada with the name Khaled. The vehicle is a rental. 8:08 p.m., Hampton Inn. Caller requesting a welfare check on a 4-year-old male. 8:45 p.m., Taylor Park. Caller reporting there's a couple fighting in the park and the female keeps kicking at the male. At 8:46 p.m., an officer responds that he thinks it might be related to the Hampton Inn case and is headed over there now. At 8:51 p.m., the officer can be heard running while reporting the suspect will be in custody soon. At 8:55 p.m., the female with the last name Gagne was arrested and brought to the barracks. The victim's name is Devin. At 8:58 p.m., the officer reports, "She is bagged, can you open the bay?" And another officer responds telling her to leave her in the car until I get there. June 2nd, 2025, 1:46 p.m., post office parking lot. Caller reporting a 2-vehicle accident. One of the vehicles was parked and no one was in it. No injuries. 3:47 p.m., 20 Congress Street at Champlain Housing. Employee calling to report that someone hit their building with a car. 4:09 p.m., North Main Street. Caller reporting a vehicle struck a pedestrian. At 4:11 p.m., North Main and Lake have been blocked off. 5:06 p.m., SAPD. Dispatch reporting there's a male in the lobby wanting to report drug activity that is going on. 5:07 p.m., Hannaford. Employee reporting that a male wearing a gray sweatshirt and backpack just stole some laundry pods and took off on foot. 8:13 p.m., Switchyard Mobile. Employee reporting that Richard Giroux has been in their bathroom for far too long, and now they are hearing banging coming from there. They would like him moved along, and he is currently trespassed. Dispatch reports that he carries a knife, is known to be combative, and tends to flee from police. At 8:33 p.m., the responding officer is bringing him to the hospital. 8:43 p.m., 56 Federal Street. Dan Moss calling to report that a male named Kermit just stole his belongings. At 9:13 p.m., Dan called back saying Kermit is supposed to be at the Samaritan House right now, and the police better get there before he does. The officer tells dispatch to just log it. 9:03 p.m., 18 Fairfax Road. Caller reporting his truck was hit in the back parking lot. 10:05 p.m., Park and Ride. Caller stating she's going to die. Dispatch believes she may have harmed herself and is staging EM-care. At 10:17 p.m., the responding officer reports that she has a bunch of lacerations to her arm. At 10:25 p.m., the officer asks for Town Fire to remove the blood off of the sidewalk. 1:12 a.m., Dunsmore Road. Caller reporting she woke up a couple hours ago and just realized her Chevy Malibu is missing from her driveway. She previously let a male named Alan borrow the vehicle, and she believes he may have taken it.